Very much for coming out tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. And first, since I don't know many of you, I'd like to let you know a little bit about myself. My wife Kirsten and I bought our first place, a condo on Army Navy Drive, and we got married in early 2000. We picked Arlington to live and to start our family, and about a year and a half later bought our first home. And we've lived there for 9 years since. We're members of the Arlington Ridge Civic Association. Professionally, I've spent 13 years on or around Capitol Hill, including 6 years as a congressional chief of staff. I believe that experience, as well as my perspective as just your average Arlington homeowner that's trying to live, work, and raise a family, is what I would bring to the board, a new voice, one that I don't think with the current one-party rules being represented. Now, we were joking a little out in the hall we could start to do a road show because we've done several of these debates and we have several more to go. I've learned some interesting things about the other candidates running with me. I've learned Chris celebrated his 30th wedding anniversary this year, and I know that Kevin saved Arlington schools 17% of their energy costs. But I have fundamental disagreement with the way the board's been going and some of the things that they've done. And because Mr. Zimmerman's the candidate that's up this year from the board, he's who we're running against and talking about. I have a problem with the fact that the county board increased spending at 3 times the rate of inflation between 2000 and 2009. That far outpaced both inflation and population growth here in Arlington. I have a problem with the way they've handled the Secure Communities initiative and what they've talked about doing with opting out there. I have a problem with how they handled the firing of the county manager over the last couple of weeks. And of course, Mr. Zimmerman is the longest-serving Metro Board member. And at the Civic Federation debate in early September, he said he was proud of his record on Metro. I disagree that it's been a record to be proud of, and I point to a specific example. Earlier this year, when they were talking about doing budget cuts and raising fares, he actually stepped in to save a $100,000 a year job for an arts manager in Metro. Now, I don't have anything against the arts, but I think when you're looking to prop up a cash-strapped system, it's probably not your highest priority. The priorities I'm bringing to the board would be transparency and accountability first and foremost. And one of my proposals is to put every penny of county spending online. That would basically put the check register online for everyone to see what we're spending money on. I believe we'd find savings instantly. And to help pay for the startup costs of that, I would propose a 2-year county board pay cut of 10% to help fund getting that system up online so that people could see what we're spending and hold us as members of the county board accountable. So I look forward to your questions tonight, and I want to thank you again for coming. Well, just a couple of points. While we may have the lowest tax rate in Northern Virginia, we certainly don't have the lowest property taxes in Northern Virginia. I don't know about you all, but since I owned my home 9 years ago, my taxes have more than doubled. As for AAA bond rating, that's certainly a good thing. It sounds like a good housekeeping seal of approval. But it's important to remember that that's based on your ability to pay, not necessarily what you're doing with the money on the back end. Arlington is a very well-off community, fueled largely by our proximity to Washington, D.C. and the federal government. That makes our ability to pay pretty high. And it's important to remember that groups like AIG had a AAA bond rating right before they went under. Not suggesting that we're but it does point to the auditing. And the only other thing I would mention is I actually differ from my party who opposed the Metro bond. I support the Metro bond. And I think we should make investments in things like Metro. And for sticking with us at the late hour. One of the things I didn't talk a lot about tonight is one of the big reasons I think that we need to make a change in the county board is that when you have one party that's been in control for so long, it tends to lead to some bad decisions. Recently, the county manager was forced to resign, and the board wasn't exactly forthcoming with that when it first happened. And whether or not it was a good idea when you've hired someone, sometimes you have to fire someone. But the fact that the board felt, and through its chairman, Jay Fassett, to announce it at the monthly Arlington County Democratic meeting, I think was a bad decision. Those kind of things shouldn't be done at a partisan committee meeting. It should have been done through official channels. And I just think that as we move forward as a county, when we get to January, the board will still be made up of at least 4 Democrats. I think it would be a good idea if we had some diversity of opinion on the board to balance that out.